All right, money is a construct. I don't care what you call it. You can call it fins, dubs, dollars, yen, pound. It does not matter. It is all the same. It's just a construct, and it's actually used to settle a debt. Anything, as long as a social economic structure that's set up all agrees that they will use whatever it is to settle a debt, that becomes money. However, even though we see the dollar crumbling and crashing right before us, it does not mean that another country is going to take shape. It is actually going to digital currency. This is a currency collapse. The way we see money is about to change. We're used to seeing it in the physical form. It is now all headed to digital. It's going on your cell phone. I'm not going to necessarily say it's going to be completely vanished, but the way you receive money will be gone because now they have the ability of being able to see the money that you make.
The Fed has never, ever been audited. The IRS has never been audited. None of these people have ever been audited. Nancy Pelosi has never been audited. None of these people have been audited. Okay.
The rules don't apply to them, right?
No, of course they haven't. Yeah. But here's what's happening. This is a part of the audit. This is why we're seeing this stuff. The audit is coming, and it's coming so hard because we never knew this. The reason why you're seeing it now is that Doge is the audit.
I can't tell you in the last year how many people I have talked to who have major businesses or major investment portfolios or major investment responsibilities who don't even know that the Clarity Act and stablecoins and all of this stuff exists and is coming. Because they think of it, I'm over here in a $250 trillion major thing. You're over there in $4 trillion worth of shiny toys. It's a joke, and it's not part of my world. And they don't see this coming. And I think this has the potential, whether it's this giant sucking sound from stablecoins or asset tokenization, I think this has the potential to just be like a tsunami rolling through the entire financial system.
Our role with Bitcoin really is to look at, with crypto, really is to look at the banks. And you know, we think it's, you know, banks are perfectly able to serve crypto customers as long as they understand and can manage the risks, and it's safe and sound. As a good number of our banks that we regulate and supervise do that. You know, the threshold has been a little higher for banks engaging in.
Essentially, what Bitcoin is doing is taking excess energy, storing it into a new form. It's called currency. And you take that currency and you take it wherever you like. And so you took energy from one place and now you've transported it everywhere.
You have also said recently that you think investors have begun to question whether the dollar would still warrant its status as the ultimate safe haven currency. I mean, the American dollar is one of the strongest weapons, frankly, that the administration has to use. Do you think that it is the rise of cryptocurrency that is most threatening to that, or why are you worried?
I see signs that the attraction of the dollar is slightly eroded, and future will tell whether there is more erosion of that. But when you look at the rise of cryptos, number one, when you look at the price of gold is typically, in any situation, the ultimate destination for safe haven. Price of gold has increased by more than 50% since the beginning of the year. That's a clear sign that the trust in the reserve currency that the dollar has been, is, and will continue to be, is eroding a bit. In addition to that, we've seen capital flows outside of the US towards other destinations, including Europe. So, you know, for a currency to be really trusted, you need a few things. You need geopolitical credibility. You need the rule of law and strong institutions. And you need, I would call it, a military force that is strong enough. I think on at least one and possibly two accounts. The US is still in a very dominant position, but it needs to be very careful because those positions erode over the course of time. We've seen it with the sterling pound, way back after the war, but it happens gently, you don't notice it, and then it happens suddenly. And we are seeing intriguing signs of it, which is why I think that having a strong institution with the Fed, for instance, is important. Having a credible environment within which to trade is important. So volatility, uncertainty, to the extent it is fueled by the administration, is not helpful.
We moved $16 trillion the other day. In one day, 16 trillion. It goes through our AML systems, our risk systems, sanction systems, fraud systems, OFAC systems. It's cheap, it's fast. So we've always been using technology to do a better job for the client. And we're going to do the same thing in tokenization. So tokenization, blockchain is real. It's been around for quite a while, but now it's becoming more effective, more efficient because people are finding ways to do it faster and cheaper.
A good compromise is everyone leaves a little bit unhappy, right? But I think what's going to happen is that after market structure passes, the banks are going to get fully into the crypto industry. So we're not going to have a separate banking industry and crypto industry. It's going to be one digital assets industry. And I think
will they be
their
regulated
opinions are going to evolve over time. And I bet you over time, the banks like the idea of paying yield because they're going to be in the stablecoin business.
But will they also be regulated the same way? And I guess that's the banks will say, hey, if they get to do all the same things we do, how come they don't get regulated the same way?
Well, I guess because they're offering slightly different products, right? Yeah. So, but everyone offering the same product should be regulated in the same way, and we want to get to that harmonization.
Bank of America, JP Morgan, Wells Fargo, and Citibank just held a private meeting to build a shadow banking network on crypto, and for some reason, nobody wants to talk about it. And this is very, very new stuff. If you copy this content, please just tag me. That's all I ask. To understand what I'm saying, you have to look at the background. You have to see the pattern of what they do and read between the lines. What they're doing right now to crypto is what they did in 2008. If you don't know what happened in 2008, they crashed the entire economy. But the way they did it actually reveals what's happening now. They created something called shadow banks or shadow companies to hand out garbage mortgages, bundled them together, sold them as gold, and made billions while regular people lost everything. So the government wanted to stop this process by passing something called the Dodd-Frank Act, specifically Section 171, the Collins Amendment, to make sure the banks never do shadow banking again. The only reason they were able to sell these garbage, junk mortgages is because they were doing it through a shady company. Now, you need to comprehend something called the Genius Act that was signed into law in July 2025 that allows banks to create stablecoins legally. A stablecoin is basically a crypto version of a dollar. Right now, they can do that, but they hide it, man. There's a line that's actually hidden and buried in the capital standards section that literally says, Section 171, look it up for yourself, of the Financial Stability Act of 2010 shall not apply. I need you to listen and hear that one more time. The one law, the one safeguard that was specifically created to stop 2008 bubbles from happening again does not apply to the creation of stablecoins. This means that banks can now create stablecoins through subsidiaries with zero of the capital requirements that existed after the crash. The crazy part is we actually had 100 community bank leaders send an emergency letter to the Senate saying crypto companies are already exploiting a loophole in the Genius Act, circumventing the rules through affiliate shell companies. It's already been talked about. It's already happening. Bank of America CEO went on national television and said, quote, "We will go into that business." They're saying it publicly. JP Morgan already launched a deposit token on Base and held a meeting with Wells Fargo, Citi, and PNC to build a Zelle-style stablecoin network. This is not a prediction. This is not a theory. This is law and actual business moves happening right now, and people are worried about the short-term price action of their crypto. The largest wealth transfer in American history is being written on the blockchain right now. See, the 2008 crash, there was no crash if there was no bubble. So there was a 4-year period where the market ran up. That's how bubbles get created. The bubbles got to expand, right? And people did get rich. That just happened in July. And it's only going to be exacerbated by the Clarity Act when it does pass, potentially in November. And the crazy part about it, too, is that these subsidiary companies are legally allowed to go ahead and actually inject some of that liquidity into creation of altcoins. So obviously, they're going to try to move like that, especially with the Clarity Act being passed. I'm not going to go into too many details in this video. We'll talk about it in the future. But basically, they've even created a way to where they can essentially create an altcoin with this stablecoin liquidity, create an altcoin out of thin air, and then risk-free get their money back almost guaranteed. We'll talk about it in future videos. People will spend 3 whole hours reading about the Epstein files, but won't spend 30 minutes understanding why the most powerful institutions on earth are at war right now over a single bill called the Clarity Act. Coinbase just leveraged their entire business model fighting for the bill going their way. And banks are fighting, okay? The most credible people in the history of finance are pulling out every weapon to make the legislation go their way. You don't go to war over something that's not important. This proves not only crypto, but it proves that regulation in crypto is the most important determining factor for the future of altcoins. They're basically fighting for who gets control over it. And the part that no one's talking about is this is the main reason we haven't had an altcoin cycle. The elite literally purposely pressed pause on billions of dollars in wealth creation just to fight over this bill. That's how big it is. And you got people looking at the Epstein files and then complaining that the Super Bowl distracted them from the Epstein files. Because of your lack of financial literacy, you're missing the entire new infrastructure of all finance. The last time something like this happened, literally 1930, 1940. See, everybody wants justice for the evil in the world, but nobody actually wants to change it. You can't change anything without money. The only reason the elite have what they have and do what they do is because they have access to unlimited resources. So stop talking on the internet and actually do something about it. It took literally 100 years to build our current financial system, and it's literally being changed right in front of your eyes. Financial law is being rewritten. The actual platform it's on is changing, and people are worried about a 6 to 8 month little sideways bear market. Get up, stop making excuses, and make something out of it. This moment will not repeat for another 100 years. You have a choice.
An announcement of Nasara being launched. Now, it's saying, looks like it's going to be like the first few days in April, so we'll soon see. But what they're basically saying is that Nasara will be announced to the globe. So that will show that the system is beginning. And then following that, there'll be an emergency broadcast system going around globally where they're literally going to be spamming out all the documentaries of everything that has gone on to wake up the masses. But in order to do that, there's going to be a message out amongst that EBS saying at some point in the next sort of 5 hours or so, everybody needs to be at home and a global lockdown for 10 to 12 days will begin. During that lockdown, all that will be on every station is going to be documentaries to give a full disclosure. So everybody will see everything that has been going on. So by the end of the 12 days, apparently there will be an 800 number that we then need to ring. And then from that point, we'll be given our quantum appointment for the date and time confirmed for us to go. Now, there's other things that was announced on it as well. So apparently we've already got one lump sum sat in our quantum account already. The reason why there's been not much information come from the QFS team these last few weeks is because there was some major things going on. One of the things is that I think it's about 75 banks, it said, have been seized and all the assets and accounts closed. And these were all cabal accounts. So these assets have been taken and moved into the quantum financial accounts to be given back to the people. And also, all the trust funds have been moved over to the quantum financial account. So already that's been moved over, which is just incredible. And it also answered another question as well, because it's stated on the intel that there will be a given that you cannot quit your job in order to receive these Nasara payments. So everybody needs to stay in work and maintain a job to receive these Nasara payments. It also said it would take about 11 years for everyone to receive all the money that is owed to them. And also the fact that money is not going to be an issue anymore. Money literally just won't be important because everyone will have enough to live an abundant life. So that's amazing. It just basically means we can start moving forward as humanity now, trying to progress rather than being held back for so long. So amazing news. Late in the evening, but I thought I just got to get on and just share this because this is what we've been waiting for. You know, in the end, when we saw Silicon Valley Bank go down, we knew that was the big sort of domino that fell that was going to start bringing down the banks, and that it has done. They also confirmed that all the major banks, the central banks, have now been taken over and they now run for the QFS. So they're all on the ISO 20022. And the other thing to remember, when I've been sharing about the QFS already and the fact that it's been moving over to this new messaging system, people were sort of saying that how does it stop corruption taking control? And you're missing the point of the whole thing. This is blockchain. Nothing dodgy can take place because everything is traceable. Any money that gets sent, they can see where it's going. It stops corruption in its tracks. There's none of this backhand or moving things behind doors or, banks in the middle of nowhere, offshore and stuff like that. None of that can happen anymore. All money is trackable and traceable. Stops it all. Corruption ends the minute the QFS starts. And I guarantee you there'll be a lot of people that probably won't be able to get a quantum account, especially if they're in a low vibration, if they've been like drug dealing or stuff like that. Because that's one of the things they pointed out as well. There's going to be some off-world identification, which that's insane. So remember, this is quantum computing we're talking about, next level stuff. So it'll be interesting to see what that is. Start working on your vibration, make sure it's high. So yeah, exciting times. I'll see what more I can get in the meantime, but looking forward to it. We're now on the final steps of it. So stock market will crash, because when the stock market crashes, that is the complete end of it. Oh, the other thing as well that was on there, it was saying, just confirming that all personal accounts, everything are mirrored on the quantum financial account. So we don't have to worry about our bank accounts. Any sort of retirements and savings accounts, things like that, they're all on there. The only things that are not mirrored is stocks and investments on the stock market. They will go, and the new stock market will then start up when the QFS does. So I hope that clears that bit up as well. So our bank accounts are fine. Any retirement bank accounts and savings bank accounts, they're all fine. It's just the stock market that's going to go down. So if you do have anything invested at the minute, get it out, because it's just going to go, and it's not backed up. So another bit of good news there. Exciting times ahead. Like and follow for more, and I'll keep finding more.